BlackRock just told the world Bitcoin is going to $750,000, the biggest money manager on earth, $12 trillion under management, and that exact headline is the reason your 5,000 XRP is mispriced right now at $1.20. Give me 12 minutes and I'll put a real dollar figure on that bag, show you how this money would have to touch XRP and hand you the one number that would prove me dead wrong. Here is why BlackRock saying that is your story, not Bitcoin's. The biggest asset manager on earth doesn't move because it loves one coin. It moves because it's building the rails that institutional scale money rides into crypto. IBIT, the spot Bitcoin ETF. And just today, a brand new Bitcoin income product, BIDA, is now trading live. That is $12 trillion laying the pipe. And the moment you see it as a pipe instead of a price call, the most important move of the day stops being about Bitcoin at all. Because one sentence deep in that same news cycle sat the move that runs the exact same play for XRP, and almost nobody stopped on it. Ripple yesterday acquired a stake in Flutterwave, valuing that African fintech firm at $3.3 billion. Not a press release about a price, a check. Ripple spending real money to push its stablecoin and the XRP Ledger into payments across an entire continent. That deal is the thing that actually matters today. And before I tell you what it's worth to a 5,000 XRP bag, I have to be straight about the one reason it might mean nothing, because if I skip that, the number's worthless. Most holders right now are stuck. You believe XRP could matter. You also believe you've been burnt before. So when a deal like this drops, you can't tell if it changes your next decision or if it's just another headline. I'm not doing the feel-good version. Hit the like button if you want the math on the BlackRock video, because the next part is the part that they left out. And if you trade this, set your levels on the crypto exchange WEEX. They're my cryptocurrency exchange that I'm partnered with, and you can get a massive discount and trading bonus by checking the link in the video description. But don't forget, this is never financial advice and only for entertainment. So here's the contradiction. If institutional scale money is so obviously laying pipe into crypto, BlackRock with IBIT and BIDA, Ripple with a $3.3 billion stake in African payments, then why is XRP sitting at $1.17 today? That gap is the whole video, because there are two different things happening here and holders keep collapsing them into one. So why does the biggest asset manager, money manager on earth spend today building a door instead of buying the asset? That's the real question. BlackRock isn't loud about Bitcoin because they love Bitcoin. They built IBIT and now BIDA because every product is a new on-ramp, a way for money that would never type buy crypto to instead buy an income ETF from BlackRock. The plumbing is being put in place. That word plumbing is the entire institutional thesis, and that's the part your bag actually depends on. Ripple is running the exact same move, just earlier and smaller. They're not begging you to buy XRP. They bought a $3.3 billion piece of Flutterwave, so remittances across Africa, money workers send home billions a year, can run on rails Ripple controls. Stablecoin first, ROUSD, the boring on-ramp. And the honest catch is this: a stablecoin payment doesn't automatically need XRP. That's the counter, and we're going to deal with it, not dodge it. Because this is where holders get fooled. Ripple, the company, can grow to the moon, and your XRP can do nothing if the money routes around the ledger. So the real question isn't, is institutional money coming? It clearly is. The question is whether it touches the assets that you hold, and that's a mechanism, not a vibe. So here's how it actually works. XRP's whole job on the ledger is to be the bridge, the thing that gets used when value moves between two currencies that don't have a direct market. A worker in London sending pounds to a family in Lagos, pounds to XRP to Naira, settled in seconds. So let me give you the first piece of the number because you've waited long enough. At $1.20, your 5,000 XRP is worth around $6,000 today. That's the floor we're measuring from. Everything else is about what a real institutional corridor does to that figure. And there are about 3 honest versions of it, not just one. Version 1 is the one I warned you about. Ripple grows, Flutterwave processes billions, RLUSD does the work, and XRP demand barely moves because the bridge stays mostly off. In that world, your 5,000 XRP stays close to where it is. The company won, you didn't. That's the doom. It's discipline. That's not doom, it's discipline. It's the world you have to be able to imagine, or you fall for every single headline. Version 2 is the corridor actually using the bridge. If African remittance volume, and we're talking a market measured in the tens of billions a year, starts settling through XRP, even partially, you're talking about real, recurring, non-speculative demand for the asset. Not a tweet, real throughput. That's the version where $1.20 stops being an anchor and starts being a memory, and your $6,000 is doing something very different. And subscribe here, because this is the channel that walks you through each one of these moves as it actually lands. The plan, not the price guessing. I'll tell you when the bridge turns on and tell you when it doesn't. That's the deal. Version 3 is the one BlackRock is quietly betting on for all of crypto, scaled down to XRP, the on-ramp era, where a remittance app, a bank, a fintech you've never heard of integrates XRPL settlement the same way a retiree buys an income ETF without ever knowing there's actually Bitcoin underneath it. The user never types XRP. The rail just uses it. And that's the version Ripple spent $3.3 billion trying to build towards. And it's the one that takes the longest and pays the most. So which camp are you actually in? Comment right now. 1, the company wins, but XRP doesn't. Or 3, the rail ends up carrying XRP and the price on your screen today looks like a typo in 2 years. Most people refuse to pick, but picking one is the whole point. That quiet Ripple deal and the loud BlackRock headline are the same play at 2 different sizes. BlackRock at $12 trillion building Bitcoin on-ramps, and Ripple at $3.3 billion building XRP on-ramps are actually running the identical move. The big money isn't predicting price, it's buying the plumbing, because whoever owns the rails collects the toll no matter which way the price goes. The institutional hand is already on the asset. That's not fear-mongering, that's just where the move already is. The only open question is whether you understood it before or after. So here is what your 5,000 XRP actually is when this money lands. It is not a lottery ticket on a price target somebody shouted on camera. It's a claim on a settlement rail that the biggest financial players on earth right now spending billions of dollars to build the exact same kind of, and the entire bet, your $6,000 turning into something that matters, comes down to one switch. Does real volume settle through the ledger or around it? And that's the whole thesis in one sentence, which means there's exactly one signal that proves me wrong, and I'd be a coward not to give it to you. Watch XRPL settlement volume and on-chain corridor activity over the next 2 to 3 quarters. If Ripple keeps announcing deals like Flutterwave and Ledger volume does not climb with them, then the money is routing around XRP. Version 1 is winning, and no headline changes that. That's your kill switch, not a feeling, a number you can check. I'm not trying to tell you to buy, sell, or hold. What I'll tell you is the difference between watching the Bitcoin story and watching your story. The Bitcoin story was loud today. Your story was the one sentence worth $3.3 billion, and it's about whether a bridge gets switched on. If this made the deal make sense, send it to one friend who actually watched the BlackRock video today and thinks XRP did nothing. They're reading the wrong line. The next question is whether banks and Wall Street are actually moving on XRP now or just talking. And that's the breakdown I'll point you to next, and we'll get straight to it. Don't forget to smash the like, subscribe, tap that notification bell, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.